welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me as always is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Well, folks, this is the way, and we are on our way towards really the end of this season of Mandalorian. Short
How many
season.
more episodes do we have? Is it 7 total?
I think there's 8. 8 total,
8.
I believe. And this was what? Episode 4?
6.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Wishful thinking, I guess.
Right.
Yes.
Episode 2.
Yeah. So episode 6, non-spoilery, and then we'll jump right in. What were your overall opinions on the episode?
Really cool episode. I just wish I knew more from it. You know, I brought up a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool characters. Cool little story. Definitely not centered as much about Baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really cool episode. Great fight scenes.
Yeah,
What about you?
That's kind of what I thought. You know, we were going away from was the sole focus on little Yoda, which is cool. It definitely had his moments. But certainly, I don't know if it's my favorite episode to date, but it is a really, really solid episode. Now,
Yes.
I have noticed a couple of people. I don't know. I think we've talked about this before, but Star Wars fans can be so complainy.
Yes, we can, unfortunately.
and I think progressively though, I've seen a lot of complaints. Well, the last episode especially. This episode I think has about everything you would want in it. And I think it just adds to the pacing of the episode. So I really enjoyed it. So we can go ahead and get into spoilery stuff. I mean, I suppose most of you have seen it. If you haven't, at this point,
You're
just
doing this
stop
wrong.
and yeah. At this
Well, if
point,
we get
just
into
stop and do
spoilers,
it.
let's go ahead and ask, what are the main complaints about this episode? Or are you just talking overall on the series?
No, there is a lot of support for the series as a whole. But it just seems progressively like the same complaints. Oh, the pacing, oh, the characters, all the, blah, blah, blah. So I haven't really read anything that's uber specific that makes me stop and pause. I just think it's a lot of folks who thought this season was supposed to like answer all their questions for Star Wars. And in a way, and this is a complaint that I do have about the Star Wars universe, is that we create a lot more questions than we answer. And I think,
and we rely on the books to answer everything, essentially.
Which is the problem, because not everybody is going to go out and read the books.
Exactly. And I didn't come into this thinking I'd have a single major question answered from the overarching universe.
Yeah,
did you?
No, not necessarily. I kind of hoped it would just be its own standalone thing, so I'm happy with that. But I think one of the things that I've kind of had, sort of around, folks saying this around me, is that they kind of did hint that this would give a little bit more into, I guess, the inner workings of the Republic, and then there was supposed to be some sort of spoiler for kind of what we're seeing now. Some buildup of the First Order. And we haven't really seen that yet. And I don't think honestly, I thought that was kind of a bait, because this is like directly after, the Empire falls.
Yeah.
And I personally didn't think we would start seeing First Order stuff until a little bit later. But yeah, there's some complaints about that. Mainly it's like, well, you're not going to show us enough in the season. Well, how much do you need?
Especially out of a half-hour show.
Right.
I mean, if you start getting into that, you kind of lose the entertainment value of what's happening right now.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't want to.
And I don't really see there being any big reveals on the First Order. I mean, what are they going to do? Reveal Hux's father? And even if they do something like, well, what I'm saying is, if you show him on this, how many people are really going to get the reference to him, because who's really went through the books?
Yeah, good call. No,
and I think that a lot of the complaints are coming from people who just don't want to accept it's a monster of the week. It's just it's not what people necessarily wanted.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's definitely not Netflix TV. You know, I think Netflix honestly ruined television shows for people. And I mean,
I've talked to a lot of people, and they all, a lot of people are actually waiting until the last episode drops so they can binge watch it.
Yeah, I know several people that are doing. Well, it's instant gratification. It's like I don't want to wait the week, but honestly, I actually love this. And it was the same thing with Game of Thrones though, because it didn't drop bulk. Although I got into Game of Thrones late, the show late.
Yeah, so I got in about 3 seasons in, so I did a little binging, but once I caught up, I really enjoyed watching it every week.
I was later than that, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but no, I still like the week-to-week thing, and I don't know, I think people just need to chill and enjoy it. But I will say, though, the overarching and vast majority of people, I think a lot of folks really have enjoyed the series so far. Like, there are a lot more positives than there are negatives, but because, like, you know, Twitter world and podcast world, sometimes you get the negatives amplified a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, our society is a bit negative in a way. I mean, we do like to find the negatives. But one positive, we're finally starting to see the little Baby Yoda merchandise come out
in May,
and that's about it. I haven't seen a single thing on the actual Mandalorian, but I have seen a few little things on Baby Yoda, some shirts, and a Walmart plushie that's slightly creepy.
Yeah, I mean the official stuff, because Hasbro also came out with like a catalog of things. But most of that won't be ready until February or May. I mean, they really we talked about this before, so I don't want to like rehash, but they really did miss the boat. But there has been more Hasbro items that have shown up in their catalog for the Mandalorian. But yeah, you're right. It's mainly Baby Yoda merch. Mando
which is their best bet for Christmas. I mean, they're obviously going to drop a lot of that for the kids.
Well, it doesn't matter. They won't get it before Christmas. None of it.
I think the Walmart stuff is available and not on back order, but I'm not sure about it.
I would be surprised if that's official license, though.
It's probably not. I didn't see Hasbro or Disney or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, their stuff for sure is not coming out until at the earliest. I think they have a few things coming out, maybe tail end of January, early February, but the bulk of it won't be until May. So, but I mean, Mando had the Black Series figure. Then there was the Black Series heavy Mando figure. So, but Mando has only really had the one figure. I don't know if he's had any more merch, but I think right now the series was so Baby Yoda heavy and it became such a huge meme that, you know, it kind of pushed the Mandalorian back a bit. I think we're starting to see more of him in the last 2 episodes, which is how I kind of like it. But we'll kind of see how it develops. But anyway, let's go ahead and roll into this show, because there's a lot of I think there's a lot of Easter eggy type stuff that came up.
Definitely.
But essentially, we start with the Mandalorian going to a station and picking up a job. This sort of seems to be the theme for right now, him trying to pick up a job, make some money. Although, I don't know, the whole making the money thing, I'm a little suspicious of that. Like, I feel like there's more to it than just making money. I don't know if you agree.
I mean, I don't think that his motivation at this point really is to make money anymore, because, I mean, he's a little bit too on the run to be worried about the guild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I find it kind of a little odd, but he does go in to the station, and actually, you know what I should do is maybe pull up the cast.
Yeah, we get a ton of new characters on this one. That is for sure.
Yeah, but he has his buddy, or his supposed buddy. I will call him Big Beard Man.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I pulled up an article, but it looks like oh my goodness, it's going all the way. Okay, we're finally in the episode. This was like everybody who's made a cameo. So Mark Boone Jr. as Ranzar Malk, who is the I don't know, I guess the owner of this station or the runner of this station.
Yeah, big boss, I guess. He didn't really have much to do in this episode, honestly.
Medium-sized boss, but yeah. So he was on Sons of Anarchy, and I recognize his face from something else because I never really watched Sons, but maybe it's something. But anyway, he seems, very laid back, kind of. Oh yeah, you remember the good old days, Mando, and we used to go off and used to just be like, oh, I'm doing all this for target practice. Yeah, it was super cool. Come meet Bill Burr.
Yeah.
His character, I think, is a little forgettable.
He was. It was a little bit. I just feel like he was making a mockery of a character from another movie. Honestly, he wasn't really his own character all that much.
I think he could have been far more devious because obviously we'll get towards the end and I'll sort of explain that. But let's move on to some other characters because next up we do have Bill Burr, who plays Mayfeld, and he's supposed to be the point man for this prospective team. What do you think about old Bill Burr? I mean, because his performance, because obviously he's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, and that definitely shone through, I thought, in this. It was okay. Like you said, it was a little bit forgettable. His extra gun was kind of cool in a cheesy way, and I don't know. The whole ex-stormtrooper thing, I can't see it, but...
Well, no, he's not a stormtrooper.
Well, yeah, you're right.
A sniper.
Yeah.
Well,
he can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Well, he reminded me of Cypher from The Matrix. I just had to look at Joe Pantoliano. I think I'm saying his name right. He just reminded me of him. But no, I didn't really mind him. I thought he did an okay job for the part. And we probably will see him again at some point, but bunch of blasters.
Almost seemed like even though with what happened, I could see him becoming one of Mando's allies at some point,
maybe
in a weird way,
maybe. But he was. I think I understand where you're coming because he was more key to a couple of awkward moments that we'll get into here in a second.
Yeah.
But could have been better, could have been worse. But I was fine with it.
Yeah, didn't bother me.
Next, we have old Zero, the old Mantis droid.
Yes, the Mantis droid that taps his head to tell Mando that he's smarter than him. That part I thought was a little awkward. What'd you think of him?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, this is probably one of the few droids I'm going to complain about. Oh wait, I complain about all droids. No, the biggest thing that I didn't particularly like about this is it reminded me too much of human movement. Most of the droids have some sort of stutter or jitter or mechanical leaning. In this one, I just felt the actor was a little bit too human and not mechanical enough.
Like I said, the tap of the head just seemed kind of like a droid wouldn't do that. I don't care what kind of programming it has. It's not going to do that. And honestly, even what they did with the costume wasn't all that great.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this droid before. I believe there was one in, what episode? It was one of the original series episodes. But anyway, I wasn't a huge fan of the acting of that droid. I just felt that it felt a little bit too human and not robotic enough. So, but honestly, that character really didn't have a whole lot in this episode. No. It was more of your pilot, and then sort of the director. I guess when they were going through the thing that we'll talk about later. Next up, we have Berg, played by Clancy Brown. And he's been in a few things. Deveronian, seeing the devil. They're running with the devil.
Yeah, I kind of like Berg in a way.
Yeah, he was an interesting character. I mean, Deveronians have been around. Obviously, I think one of the most notable was I think that was in the cantina scene in episode 4. Yeah. And he just kind of like smiling around, like no neck movement at all because of the costume.
Yeah.
But
so it's kind of nice to see one actually moving and see what they could do.
But yeah, he was the really crappy prison guard in Shawshank Redemption. He was in Highlander. So he's actually a very active actor. I think he's also done some. I think he's done voice work too. Was he the one that I read did the voice of? The one thing that I don't want to say because I don't remember correctly. Mr. Krabs. Yeah, he voiced Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
So
his voice does sound familiar. So I'd say probably more than that. Probably a lot of Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon stuff, I would assume. But
yeah, he's done a lot. That was kind of cool to see him, and he was the muscle, so to speak. So,
in case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, for sure. Next we have Natalia Tana, who played was it Zian? I'm just reading. Yeah. Now she's a Twi'lek, and she also played Tonks in the Harry Potter movies, and she was in Game of Thrones too, and I can't remember her name from Game of Thrones. She's the wildling girl.
The one that spawned the infamous meme, "You know nothing, Jon Snow."
No, that's Ygritte. No, she was the other one that ran along with Bran. Was helping Bran for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's I like her. I think she kind of falls into playing a similar character. But anyway, so she's a vampire Twi'lek.
Yeah. What did you think of her performance?
It was interesting. I'll give you that. I
would say she was the most entertaining out of all of them.
It just felt a little over the top.
Yeah, that's not what I imagine when I think of a Twi'lek.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's not really all Twi'leks. I think we're trying to diversify the Twi'leks because we've used them so much, but that's not, fanged vampire Twi'leks is not really.
No, that part was a little strange. And to me, I feel like a Twi'lek would be more mystique. Not talk very much, more of a rogue or assassin. I wouldn't. Off the fringe just doesn't, for me, work with Twi'leks, but she was entertaining. She definitely has an interesting relationship with Mando, that's for sure.
Yeah, you kind of got the sense that maybe they were involved at one time or another. She kind of works. Yeah, she kind of mocks the, this is the way, she'd never seen his face. So, we'll see. But I guess Mando is doing some stuff. And again, I'll tell you another thing that I spotted here when we were talking with scrolling Ranzar about, because I'm horrible at remembering names, when they were talking in the beginning about the old days, and like it really pulls into effect that Mando is not a young guy. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I thought was like, how old is Mando? Because I know Renzo's talking like he was a young man when this happened, and he's like probably in his 60s.
Yeah,
maybe 50s.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting because I know we had a little bit of a conversation in the beginning about maybe Mando's like a younger guy who's not well versed, and now it's like no, he's an older, he seems to be a little older, and he's been around the block because he's been running jobs for a while. So that's kind of an interesting thing. I'm fascinated to see sort of like that component. Maybe it doesn't matter to everybody, but like, again, I don't know. It's just kind of a strange little sticking point for me. But at this point, it seems like he's older.
Yeah, and to me, that brought up one of the biggest questions in this episode, which I don't think we will ever get answered. I don't expect that at all. There's going to be a lot past of Mando that we're never going to know. If we do, it'll be in book form. Unless they really change the formula in season 2. But it definitely was interesting. It would be nice to have some flashbacks to their old days together, because it also sounds like Mando wasn't necessarily the most honorable fighter back in the day.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. But we'll kind of get to that here, once we get to it, because honestly, it was just sort of a little out of context. But Anyway, let's continue on. So we had Ishmael Cruz Cordova, who played Quinn, who was a very inconsequential character, but he was the asset that they were hoping to save from a New Republic prison transport ship.
Yeah.
And this actually gave Mando some pause. He's like, do you know what you would bring down on us type of deal? He wasn't really interested in crossing the New Republic.
No, he's trying to stay off the grid, and obviously, it doesn't make much sense because it seems like these people would feel the same way, you know.
I think that they're just villains, you know. I think that they'll do whatever they want, but obviously for Rand, the whole getting Quinn back seems to be a big deal, and Quinn
kind of makes you wonder if Quinn is the boss.
Yeah, I don't know. He towards the end of it didn't make me think so, but
yeah.
But now Quinn is also the brother to Zian, or I really should have brushed up on her name because Zan.
Yeah, that's a nice little reveal at the end.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Moving on here, there were a couple of other small cameos. We had Matt Lanter as the scared rebel guy with his matching shoes and pants. Now he is the voice of Anakin Skywalker on Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him at one of the panels at Celebration earlier this year. So that's a cool little cameo. Get the voice of Anakin from Clone Wars on here to have. It's a small part. But I thought
nice
it was
Easter egg though.
Yeah, and then there were a couple that I really laughed at. The pilots, the X-wing pilots. So you have Dave Filoni, and they had names too. So Dave Filoni as Trapper Wolf. Oh God, I don't know if I'm really going to be able to say all these names. Rick Famu, he's the director of Episode 6, as Jib Dodger. Sorry, I can't pronounce stuff. And Deborah Chow as Sasha Ketter. And she directed one of the episodes.
I want to say that she was in The Last Jedi.
Deborah Chow?
Yeah, I really feel like she was in that movie. I want to say that she was the one that said bombs away in the bombing run. The super slow moving bombers. She was in an X-wing, I believe.
I don't know about that. I mean,
I don't know. She looks a little familiar to me. I might be completely wrong.
She's a director. I mean, she directed, I think, one of these, and she's also supposed to be directing the Kenobi series. If she was, I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, she's specifically a director, so could have been. I'm not seeing it here directly, but I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So those are a couple of the little cameos. It's like, nice job, Filoni, just writing yourself in as a X-wing pilot.
The best name ever,
Trapper Wolf. Yes, much better than Dick Wolf, who's another director.
That's who we needed to be the star of Alphabet Squadron.
Oh my God.
That's what we needed.
Well, anyway, so that was a lot of the cameos there. It's kind of cool. And obviously kind of reintroducing Deveronian, getting more of the Twi'leks in here, which obviously kind of leads into a little bit more possibility for Hera to come back into live action at some point, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's kind of go through a little bit of the episode. We obviously kind of talked about the job, which is to get Quinn out of a New Republic prison transport ship. Mando's not a whole lot. He's not very interested in it. But they do wind up taking the job. And really the big reason why Mando was there was for his ship, because it's off the registry. Yeah. Not so much for him, because they let Zero fly, but they wanted the ship, the Razor Crest. And one of the awkward things that we were kind of talking about there in the beginning was when they are on the ship, and you had this little back and forth with with Berg, kind of going through his stuff, and they fight a little bit. And then, Bill Burr is like, come on, take off your helmet. Give us something. You gotta give us something. Come on, guys. You gotta see your face. Which I just thought that exchange was really weird. It's like it's really hyping the fact that, this is the way, we don't take off our helmets.
Right. Yeah. I feel like we've kind of already gone through all of that with the village and the woman, so I didn't really need to rehash that whole reminder. He can't take his helmet off, all that.
Right.
It was very awkward. I didn't think anyone really acted well in that scene.
It was strange. It was a little strange. And I figure it really put in my mind a lot of foreboding into what was going to happen.
Oh, yeah. If you didn't know at that point that he was going to be betrayed by them, you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, it kind of overly set it up in my opinion. Yeah. But it is what it is. So then you had this sort of tricky maneuver to actually dock with the transport, and it made everybody fly everywhere. And then this opens up Baby Yoda's room. And you get a little cameo from little Yoda, and Bill Burr kind of picks him up. He's like, "What is this? Is like your pet or something? You're like keeping it there? I didn't know this was something you did. Maybe I should get one of these."
And then he straight up says, "Maybe I'll take this one."
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll just take this one. Yeah, that honestly though is like a ton of Bill Burr's personality though, because if you
I kind of enjoyed that part.
Well, if you listen to his interviews, not his stand-up. But his actual interviews, because he's been on like Joe Rogan a ton, and he has his own podcast, or at least he did. Mm-hmm. That's kind of him, he's kind of like a little bit of a fast talker, very quick wit, kind of likes to play with people in that sort of New York way. Just kind of little jabs and so forth, but it's not really malicious, although Bill Burr can, definitely be the angry guy too. So
yes,
but very interesting.
I see a little bit of that, honestly. I was kind of disappointed.
Oh yeah. So anyway, we do get on the transport, kind of have that one scene, which I thought was kind of neat with the droid guards. Where they're in a little bit of a shootout because old Berg shoots a mouse droid.
Yes, that
cameo
was so
from the mouse droid. But anyway,
multiple mouse droids. We get multiple.
Yeah. So as they're sort of fighting it out, they realize that the Mandalorian has left. Like, I knew it. He wouldn't back us up. And then all of a sudden he comes up and kills all of the droids as the onlookers just look on.
Yeah.
What do you think about that fight scene?
I'm a little torn on the fight scene because I thought it was very well done. But at the same time, do you feel like he should have been able to dispatch them a little easier?
No, and let me tell you why. It is exactly how a real fight scene, I think, would go. To me, it looked just a little bit slower than what a standard Hollywood fight scene would look like. And I think that that's the problem, because most Hollywood fight scenes go by quick, and it's not quite, especially when we're dispatching like nobodies, the hero's not going to have trouble with them. But that's not necessarily a real fight of like 4 or 5, 6 on 1. He's going to take some damage. Anyone would. Even the biggest BA in the world is going to take some damage there. So actually, and this is just my opinion, but I think that was a more correct fight scene to what would be like more real life applicable. And that's why I liked it.
I guess the only thing that bothered me with that was then Bill Burr has his moment with 3 droids and he just takes them out instantly.
Yeah.
Granted, he has 3 guns, but the fact that they give him the easy kills and make him look more confident than Mando, that was the only thing that kind of bothered me a little bit. No, I thought the fight scene was done very well, and we got a very good display of all of Mando's talents, all his different weaponry. Yep. I thought it was kind of interesting using a flamethrower against a droid. Wouldn't be my first choice, but it definitely does the job.
You can bake a servo, I guess.
Yeah.
But sure. Getting to the Bill Burr scene, now that this is a little bit later, but yeah. So one of the things that I thought as far as like continuity, and this is something that I've complained about with some books and the continuity between armor, is that like in Black Spire, the First Order troopers could take all this fire from their blasters and it didn't do anything. But then I can't remember which book I was, I don't know. There was another one that I was reading, and it's like everything just passed right through and they were able to kill everybody. So in this show, you had in that first fight scene when they were shooting it out, you even saw his little bat gun come out, and they weren't damaging these bots. But in the Solo scene, when Burr's character is on his own, or Mayfeld's character is on his own, you see that gun take out one of the droids. So there's a bit of a continuity thing there that I'm not a huge fan of, and I think it's just more of like rolling the episode on. But you're right. I agree. He had trouble in the interim, in the beginning, but then a little later on, he was able to like dispatch 3.
Yeah, and I guess you could say that he was a little caught off guard at that fight scene compared to where he's going down the hallway on his own. He was very focused and ready to go in for a fight. But yeah, the continuity is a little bit of an issue. But no, I thought the fight scene was very entertaining. One of the best in the show, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was great. So then, and we kind of pass a couple of the prisoners. There's like an Imperial in there. There's like Pigman.
We did get, I'm drawing a blank on the species. It's from Solo. The pilot from Solo. Yeah.
Oh, Rio.
Yeah, Rio.
Yeah.
We get one of his species. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was interesting.
The forearms come. I was like, I knew right away. Oh, Rio.
Yeah, that was kind of. I don't remember the species name, but yeah, I was like, oh, Rio. Oh no, he's dead by now. Anyway.
Yeah.
So let's see. So we get to the control room and we have our little scene with the voice of Anakin. We have our shootout with Anakin Skywalker. And they kind of go back and forth. There wasn't supposed to be any humans here or any sort of organic person, as they put it. But there was one in the control room. And they have this kind of like standoff where it's like Mando doesn't want to kill him. And it seems even like Burr doesn't really want to kill him all that much either. Because I think if he did, he would have done it. And we have this standoff because our Republic guard has a transponder that will immediately alert the New Republic and send them running. Well, this was the debate. And what winds up happening is he gets a knife. He gets knifed by our friendly Twi'lek vampire.
Yeah, that scene, some parts of that bothered me a little bit because if I were in his shoes personally, if I'm at the point where I'm hearing people debate whether or not to kill me, I probably would just hit the button and just say peace out.
Yes. Yeah.
Get a little revenge because you're dead at that point. There's no way you're surviving.
I think you're right. And maybe it was kind of like, oh, I'm holding on up. No, it won't. They won't do it. No, I don't know. We got maybe one guy on my side. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from. So anyway, the beacon is lit. The call for Gondor's aid has... no, oh, wait. Never mind. That's completely wrong anyway. Gondor calls for aid.
Yes, and the plot point timer of 20 minutes starts.
Yes. Very interesting. It's going to be 20 minutes. In comes Zero.
Because, it takes a little while to go through hyperspace.
Well, we only need 5.
That's right.
I mean, they only need 5 minutes. So they wind up finding Quinn in his cell. Obviously, Mando has a problem with this guy because he was surprised to see him there. Maybe he thought he was dead. But this is where the double cross comes in. They trap him in the cell and leave him there, all saying, you deserve it. And this seemed to be the plan all along, which is odd because it seems like more of they don't know about Baby Yoda in the guild. This seems like revenge for something that maybe Mando did in the past, right?
Very random, too, especially with the time frame of it, because I'm sure the second that he contacted them, he would have been arriving. So for them to come up with this plan and it all fall into line, little suspect, but
right.
Take it at face value, I guess.
Well, and then the other thing too is that I guess it all depends. I think they wanted him on the mission because they know he's BA, But they could have killed him when he walked in and took his ship if the ship was all they wanted. So that's kind of why I think they kept him around, because they knew they needed him. And it was an elaborate plan, which doesn't go well for them, because the Mando eventually rips off a droid's arm and is able to hack the door somehow and escapes. And then this actually is one of the coolest things, because it kind of turns into like a horror movie hunt thing for these
like a Predator thing.
Yeah. And you kind of start to think, it's like, well, is Mando going to have trouble, or is something bad going to happen to him? Because
and it's a mixed bag, kind of, with that.
Well, he's kind of an anti-hero. He's kind of the hero, but sort of an anti-hero. And it's like, well, something could turn for him, but honestly, it really didn't turn. He was able to dispatch people pretty easily, which I'm cool with. These are low tier, punks, man. He should be able to take them out. With really the exception of Berg, who they had a little bit of a scene with.
Kind of weird how he defeats him, I think.
Yeah, he just kind of like
closes a door on him.
Yeah.
But doesn't kill him.
Well, or does he? No, he doesn't. But we kind of get the systematic hunting of all the crew here. Berg obviously goes down first. And then was it the Twi'lek next, I think?
I believe so.
He just kind of runs up on her, and she just throws a bunch of knives. Does stick him with one. But we get honestly, I think it was a little bit too much when they allowed you to see where he has the knife to her throat, and then it blanks. I would have just, like, on the turn when he's spinning towards putting the knife in her, I would have just blanked at that to make it even less known if she's dead or not. Yeah,
because I don't know. To me, it was awkward. I actually had to rewind it a couple of times. Like, was the knife? Did he actually stab her or not?
Well, I mean,
I didn't catch it the first time,
and that's good that you have to question that. But I still think they could have stopped it a little bit sooner.
Almost with how they do with Bill Burr's character. I thought they did that one perfectly. It was pretty entertaining too.
That honestly was great. It's the classic, like, oh crap, he's behind me, isn't it? And he just screams, and then the screen goes blank. No. I like the fact that he was able to sort of cut the power and put it on the emergency red lighting, which made things a little bit more ominous. And then finally he does catch up with Quinn, who makes a barter. He's like, you're not going to get paid, and I'll pay you more if you take me in. I need blood.
Yeah, honestly, I thought we were going to see a rehash of the scene in Solo where he shoots first. I thought he was just going to straight up shoot him in the chest.
Yeah, but he does get his revenge. Now, let's switch focus here, because it's not all about Mando. It's also about
our second
Yoda.
Second cameo for little baby Yoda.
This was actually kind of funny, because like Zero finds the message from the guild, telling him to bring the bounty in from old Chubbs. And little Yoda just kind of sort of like staring at him, and they play a little hide and seek until, he's finally mysteriously back in his room. Yeah. And looks like Zero's going to kill him when we see the little hand raise and his eyes close, and he's trying to force him, but he can't. He doesn't. And Mando shoots him. And that kind of startles him a bit.
The best new meme for Baby Yoda. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of memes with him looking at his hand.
Yeah.
Like, did I do that?
Well, and this is actually an interesting thing, because, like, now I don't know what he was trying to force. Maybe he was trying to do a trick, like a mind trick on him, but he's a droid. So I guess if I am, it's like, why aren't you trying to, like, levitate him or force push him? But of course, I was
expecting force push or making his weapon backfire, something like that.
Right. But I mean,
we've seen him lift a mud. We've seen him lift a mud horn, though. Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he was just trying to, he didn't really understand that this is a droid and you can't just mind trick him or something. Yeah. But of course, Mando for the save destroys yet another droid. The body count continues. The droid body count continues.
Yes, and the comments of how he hates droids continues.
Well, he does. I mean, legitimately, the droids killed his parents, so I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we get the return back to our station with Quinn, and Mando gets paid and then goes to leave. And his, quote, friend orders a kill order. Gunship to go take him out. But then we get old Trapper Wolf, Jib Dodger, and Sosh Ketters.
Yes, and the most perfect timing ever, just in time for Mando to pass them.
Yeah, well, the Mandalorian, he puts the homing beacon on Quinn. And this is where, when you said maybe Quinn's the boss, it's like, well, he's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
What's this? I don't know. It's beeping.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to put like a bomb on him.
That's what I thought too. And honestly, it would have been a little more satisfying than what we got.
Well, and it leaves things a little ambiguous. Because obviously the X-Wings are still shooting at the station, but they didn't blow it up.
Right.
And they did destroy the gunship, but I don't know. I mean, did Quinn
it didn't
go?
Look like
did
Quinn got killed.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell. Obviously, Beardman runs away, so I don't think he got shot.
Right.
I don't think that ended up happening, but yeah, kind of does make you question if we're going to see him again.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is just setting up for future encounters. Could be wrong, but I think that's sort of where it goes. So we get that. Mando escapes, gives the little chrome ball to little baby Yoda.
Knob.
Yeah. And he's like, I told you that wasn't a good idea. Yes, because clearly little Yoda told you to take this job. It's like, yeah, man, take this job. We need some cash. I need some bone broth. Come on, dude.
Yeah, obviously he used the Force to communicate with him. Now, I will say one thing. I thought this episode was going to go in a completely different direction. The second that Zero realized there was a bounty on them, I thought this was going to be our episode for the kidnap.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about this for a while, so
right.
I don't want to say I was disappointed by it, but I really thought it would have been the perfect setup for it.
Yeah, you're right. I was a little. It was a little interesting to introduce that element and then no payoff.
Destroy the character that knows it, so it's kind of useless in a way.
That maybe transmitted something out. I have no idea. But anyway, basically our final scene here was we learned that our bounty hunting crew are alive and they're in a prison cell in the New Republic prison ship transport thing. Mm-hmm. So definitely a possibility that we're going to see those characters again. On whose side is how it will be interesting.
Yes. I couldn't really see Berg helping Mando, but
I don't know.
Bill Burr's character, I think we could see that. Twi'lek, that's iffy.
Honestly, I think of all the ones, I would have probably picked Berg because he's just kind of an ambiguous.
I would pick him, but I definitely don't think that they jive very well.
Oh, I don't know. I think personally, I think it's a common trope though, where you sort of have the big, not necessarily the smartest character, but he's super strong, kind of gets bested by the hero, and then turns later to his defense. You know, personally, it all depends on motivations. But if any of that crew were to turn to his side, I would personally pick Berg. And then, Mayfeld, I'm a little ambiguous about because I don't know his motivations. I think that he could be somebody who's very...
He's turncoat, I believe.
Yeah, he could turn on a dime. But there again, we also had that... the kid from the Gunslinger episode that, turned on Mando because of the price on his head was bigger than the assassin. And, it was just stupid choices. But like Mayfeld seems, at least I hope he seems smarter, a little bit more survival oriented. Maybe been in the game a little bit longer. But, I think that's the thing about bounty hunters. They're really out for themselves at the end of the day.
They are. And honestly, I don't know. I'm getting this weird little theory put together, but let's see what you think. I almost feel like all these characters that we feel like aren't necessarily... We can't tell if they're going to be on Mando's side in the future or not, but I kind of still see the kidnap thing happening.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe at the end of the season, he goes to recruit everyone back to go save Baby Yoda. So I don't see why we can't see, the shock trooper from the Village episode and
right.
all of these guys and the assassin bounty that he let go. Well, no, she got shot. I'm sorry. But the guy that finds her, all those characters that we're just getting little glimpses of.
Mm-hmm.
I could kind of see a little group being put together by Mando.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I've been saying too, is that eventually we're gonna have to see some of these characters again.
Yeah, they're just a little too memorable for one episode.
Well, you look at all the panels, and who are on the panels? Bill Withers, Gina Carano, and Pedro Pascal were on all the panels, every single one of them. So obviously we're going to see Withers again. Gina Carano, I mean, if we don't see her again, then that was a complete waste of her going out and doing all this promotional stuff. It would seem more like tokenizationing a woman. Oh, look, we've got women. So I don't know. And honestly, another thing here, just in relation to that, there was, I don't remember if it was Chow or if it was someone else, but one of the directors I was reading, basically was talking about like not really having much to do with Pedro because he's not always in the suit. He's got doubles.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure he's not doing his own stunts.
Well, he could. I mean, I don't see why not. Just come on. It's not like, it doesn't feel that complicated. It might be uncomfortable. But, he seems like he's doing a lot more voice than anything else, which is odd to pay a guy like that much and then parade him around for a voice.
And especially since now we're thinking Mando's older and his age range wouldn't really line up with Pedro's, so I don't really think we're going to see him ever. I think we will. Pedro is not young. I'm actually going to look up his age, but he's not like young. I mean, he looks pretty good for his age. I'm really bad at spelling, apparently, too. Let's see here. How old are you, Pedro? Why can't I just find you? There we go. But geez, I gotta click on 10 million different things. He's 40. Okay, so he's 44. So he's not old, but he's also not young. Yeah, and the other guy could be older than Mando. That's still a possibility. He could have been referring to himself as a kid when he's in like his 40s.
Makes sense.
We don't know that.
Right. So anyway, episode I think was really good. I think that there was a good amount of action. You had a lot of classic tropes. You got some cameos. You got some little Easter eggy things, and I thought overall it was very good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. There were some rough spots in the acting, but pretty good episode.
We've been talking about that though almost every episode.
I think this was a little more predominant though.
I don't know. I think honestly, like the mechanic in the last in the gunslinger episode, and then the waitress in the village episode, I honestly thought those were worse.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. They were they stuck out like a sore thumb. This was, I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't think it stuck out.
I guess we didn't see them as much is the thing.
Yeah, maybe so. But anyway, still good.
Maybe it's on purpose. Maybe they want to do it that way.
Yeah. Well, we got another episode coming up, and then another episode, and then we have to wait for season 2. So
that's right.
And this week's going to be interesting because obviously we have Rise coming out, and I'll be.
Yes, we are. I'm not even going to go with the timeline of when this will be out.
We are
4 days away.
Yep.
Cannot wait.
Yes. We'll have plenty on that, I'm sure. More than likely, we will drop a Wednesday pregame show. I'm kind of doing my rewatches and everything. But yes, Wednesday we will do that. I am not looking at any spoilers, nor am I looking at any theories concerning it now. So everything.
I'm staying off YouTube and Facebook for the entire week.
Well, I'm not necessarily going to do that because I'm not that nutty about it, but I am not going to look at anything in regards. So that means we will not be talking about it come Wednesday.
Yes.
I don't want my movie going experience to be spoiled. And there's actually been, I think, another mini trailer or like another TV spot, which I am not happy about. I think they are trying to do way too much to lure people in, and you can't give away everything. Let the fans stew. The darn thing is already pre-saled to sell more than the last Avengers movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Let it
be. At this point, it's almost just greed.
Well, I don't know if it's greed. I think it's lack of confidence. I don't think that they have any confidence in their product anymore because they've been so ripped down. I mean, classic example, Mandalorian not having Baby Yoda merch ready until after Christmas. Get out of here. You should have had that stuff done already. And I think continuing to put out more and more spots, more and more pieces, it just feels like they have no confidence in how this movie is going to do. It's like your Star Wars franchise has been wildly successful.
Yes.
So please don't let the unfortunate backlash of Last Jedi and perhaps the box office disappointment of Solo become how you view the rest of this.
Well, Disney isn't used to, and again, we'll go back to it. Our fan base is very hard to deal with, and Disney is not used to it. I mean, think about it. Do they really get a backlash for any movie they put out? Any bit of merchandise?
Yes, and no. I mean, yes, they do, but
not quite like us.
Yeah, like I don't want to be that guy. But I mean, they do and they don't. Not to this extent.
I feel like George Lucas just should have sat them down when they did this deal and say, "Look, the fans I've created, this is what to expect. I wrote a book on how to deal with them."
Yeah, exactly.
Little guidebook.
Yep. Yeah. Well, anyway, folks, I think that's about all for Mandalorian. Definitely looking forward to continuing the series. Obviously, we've got a lot this week. This is the week.
This is it.
And hopefully all of you are ready and you got your tickets. If you have any theories or anything you would like us to discuss that is not spoiler in nature, for Wednesday, you can, of course, hit us up on Twitter at TC Plan Podcast, look us up on Facebook, or send us an email at tcplanpodcast@gmail.com, and we might talk about it. But aside from that, you guys have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.